What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight. When I left off a few weeks ago, and sorry about that, I had to go do an actual real work trip for my real job. But when I left off, we were talking about Lake Brownwood, and we were talking about the Google Earth side. So if you didn't get a chance to go check that out, go look at the Lake Breakdown playlist out on my channel. You'll be able to find that for Lake Brownwood. But tonight, we're actually going to go offshore. We're going to use the tools that Navionics gives us on the mobile phone to go out and look at the contour lines and see what we can find from the offshore standpoint. Hot spots for you guys to go take a look at and hopefully be able to put you on some more bass next time you go out and fish that lake. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's see what we can find. Here we go. Well, let's jump into Lake Brownwood. So if you've ever watched any of my videos before, I actually use a mobile app called Navionics Boating. So if you ever wanted to know what I use for these contour breakdowns, I'm using the Navionics Boating app. You can find that out on the App Store, the Google Play Store, all that good stuff. Now also, if you're just now watching this lake breakdown and you didn't get a chance to watch the Google Earth breakdown, make sure to go check those out. You can find those on my site underneath the playlist for all lake breakdowns, and then I'll also put a link up at the top that will link you back to some of those breakdowns as well. So let's go ahead and jump into this thing. What we always do is we always start at the dam and then we work our way up the east side, up north, and then we always come back down south. So let's not change anything here. Let's go ahead and keep the same thing going. So I'm just going to start right here at the dam, and really what I'm looking for here is anything from a contour perspective that really jumps out at me. So whether that be a point, a ledge, a creek channel, a creek swing, all those good types of things, and then I'll mark those, and then of course put those on the SD cards for you out there on Simplistic Fishing. So that's really what we're looking for today. Is we're really looking at all these different contours and seeing if there's anything up in here that really sticks out to us as a really good offshore spot. So right out of the gate on the dam, the first thing that that immediately catches my attention is looking straight across from the dam right here on this point. This point looks very, very good. You can tell it's got some flooded timber that's around it as well. It's got lots of rock. It's got a really nice shallow top to it. It's got some docks that are fairly close by as well. So this point right in here, and the fact that you've got major creek arms or river arms coming in on both sides, that's going to make that a very, very attractive point for you to want to go fish. So make sure to go check that one out for sure. Now, just following this creek channel up, you'll notice there's not a lot of contours on this side, so I didn't see too much here that we can mark. The one thing that I would check out would be right in here. I don't know what this is, if this is super shallow, or if it's just Navionics is messed up. I don't know how it would go from 50 feet to basically nothing. But if there could be like a little ledge right in here or something. So I don't really know. I've never been to this lake before, but anyways, I think Navionics is just messing with me. But there is a potential there that there could be some sort of ledge right in there, right on that really hard swing. That's a really deep spot right there, but you may just want to go check that out. I didn't mark it because according to the way that this image looks, there's not really any good things for me to mark there. One thing you could check out, of course, we covered this. It has rocks here. They've marked rocks all along this, on this map, and you'll see that a lot of those are going to be those big rocks that we already marked on the Google Earth side. So if you're wondering why I'm not covering those, that's because we covered those on the Google Earth side. Now there is a pile over here that I didn't see that someone had marked, so you may want to go check that one out. It's right here off the edge of this dock. You can see it right in there. There's some flooded timber there as well. That dock sets up pretty good. Springtime, they could get back up in here and spawn, and then they could pull right back out here pretty easily. So that could be a pretty good spot to look. So definitely go check that one out. Now as we move up and we keep just paying attention to this creek arm, I'm not seeing too much here other than all these little spots where it says rocks, where the locals have put in there for the Navionics side. And again, we covered that stuff. If there is really good rocks there, we're definitely going to know that. The other thing that I noticed when going through this Navionics side, they're not offshore spots, but you'll notice that a lot of these docks over here have some piles. Now these could be crappie piles. I did not mark those, but what I'll do is I'll go ahead and mark them now, and I will try to get my stuff updated there and show those for you guys. So next time you go out there, you'll know exactly where those piles are. But that looks like it has some potential as well. So definitely go check those out. I'm going to put one more right here, or two more, and then we're going to keep moving on. So if you're a crappie fisherman, or even if you're a bass fisherman, you guys have heard me talk about this a lot. Those brush piles, they are money for bass as well. So don't just think, oh, those are crappie brush piles, don't mess with them. No, those are perfect places for the really big bass to set up on, because that's some really good food, and it's really easy food. Those crappie are really easy for them to eat, and they love them. So definitely go check those spots out. Now let's keep going up here around this swing. Again, you're seeing all these little marks where people have put rocks. The next spot that I really liked from an offshore standpoint was right over here. So if you look at the way that this sets up, you've got a little point, really a main point that comes out here, right? You see that, but you've got another little point that comes right over here. And you've got a really steep drop. So, we're in 30 foot here, we're in 12 foot here. So we know there's some sort of a ledge or something going on right here. And then you've got a pretty good flat top going on right in this section as well. That's, 8 to 9 feet. So definitely go check that out for sure. And then as we swing over and we get around the top of this, a couple more places out here. Obviously the first place is going to be right here. There's a hump that's out here in the, the middle. And basically you've got a creek arm or a creek bed that's coming right to the right side, to the east side. And then on the west side, you've got that major river arm that's coming through there as well. So that hump just is going to be prime time, come summertime, even, parts of the fall, they're going to be out there as well. So definitely go check that out. Make sure to go check out that hump. To me, that would be, other than that first point that we looked at, this is probably going to be the second spot I would stop, especially if we're later on in the season. Now, as we're coming up here and we get off of this main point, this one has pretty much similar thing on both sides, right? We talked about that little flat spot where we had a good drop. Well, if we come over here and you're just looking at the contours, you can see you kind of got the same thing here again. Up here on the shelf, 8 to 9 feet. You got 30 feet out here again, and then you got a really good ledge going on right here in that area, right where that exclamation point is. So I've marked that one. You'll definitely have those out there on the card. Now, as we move a little bit further up, there's some pretty good stuff that's a little bit further out here. And I went ahead and marked these because it shows that they're individual rock piles that are out here a little bit further off. Now, again, I kind of cheated here because Navionics was able to to give me that information, and then I went ahead and just marked them for you guys on what I found there. I don't think I would have been able to see those rock piles on Google Earth. I don't think we were able to get the water down that low, but it is nice to know that those are there. So those could be some really good isolated piles that you could definitely want to go check out. Now, as we move further back in here, didn't see too much from an offshore standpoint. Let's keep moving over and let's start swinging back to the north. Now, again, these main lake points are always going to be good. This one doesn't really set up well, from a fishing standpoint. There's really not much there. But if you really want to focus on the point, on this one, I would probably swing over just a little bit. So you're still close to that point. But right here is where you've got a little bit of a river channel that's coming through here that's making a little bit of a turn. So you've almost got a little bend going on right there in front of those docks. So if you're fishing this point, fish around these docks. That's probably going to be your better option if you're in that area. All right, so moving on up, talking about some more offshore stuff. We got some pretty good stuff right in here. We've got an isolated rock pile that's right here off this ledge, and I really like this ledge too because you've got that main river channel coming right here, and then this is where they come up in here and can, spawn and all that good stuff. Well, if you've heard me talk about any of the other videos, when you're looking for pre-spawn and sometimes even post-spawn bass, sometimes the best spot to find is get as close as you can to the shallow area where it makes the biggest drop. So if you're doing that, you're going to come out here and you're going to be right down in here. So they can get up really shallow really fast, and they can get really deep really fast. And so also right here, the reason why I marked this one is because there's also a rock pile here. So now you've got that rock pile in, 12 foot of water, and then you've got a really good flat that's just, really, really close by. So definitely look at that spot. Also come over here. You got a roadbed that runs through here. You could check out this roadbed. I didn't mark it. I did mark the bridge because you guys know I love fishing submerged bridges, especially here in Texas. So all those submerged bridges are always going to be marked. So you've got those there. But there's some other stuff in here too that you might want to look at. It says there's a hard edge with rock pins. So you can definitely just check that stuff out. You've also got the Texas Park and Wildlife stuff that's out here as well that we can check out. So some pretty good stuff on this end of the lake. You've also got some more piles, some crappie piles that are in there as well. I think we marked those on the Google Earth, so I'm going to skip those. Now as we move down, we get down, this is below, looks like Goat Island. When we get down below there, if you're really focusing on this creek channel, obviously you want to fish right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a marker right there because I really Should have put that there first. So right where this creek channel starts to touch that point, that's going to be a good spot to fish. You're going to have to go around this stuff. It looks like it's, you're not supposed to be in there, but then you come down here and now you got a really hard swing, right? You got a real hard swing in the channel there. So right in this area, setting up right in here somewhere, is probably going to be a dynamite spot. Right where it just makes the turn and kind of floods out, you're probably going to find some debris or something that's piled up somewhere up and along this area, along this whole little side right in here. So spend some time there scanning, focusing on what's down there. It might not look like much from a contour perspective, but just the fact that you've got that huge creek channel bend right there, you definitely want to go check that out. All right, so I'm going to keep moving up. I didn't see too much from an offshore standpoint back here. I didn't really see, anything around the island or anything that really caught my eye. I think we did find some stuff on the Google Earth part, but nothing on the Navionics side here that I can see that's really standing out to me. When we get back here, I don't know if these are there, because sometimes it says these are there, and then you'll go and you'll scan and there's absolutely nothing there. But sometimes you'll go back there and you'll scan for these, and this is like jackpot, because nobody's paying attention to these culverts. So go back and see if there's a culvert there. If you can't find the culvert, there should at least be a roadbed that you can fish around. And a lot of times you get around those roadbeds. Those are really good. Make sure to scan that entire roadbed. You never really know where they're going to be. They like to just migrate back and forth on those things. Now, as we move down here, I like this right here. Look at this little point that comes out. Obviously, you got your real shallow point right here, but off of that point, you've got another one that comes out here. It almost creates, it's really not even a point, it's almost a hump. So you got your little saddle that's right here, and then you've got your hump that's right here. And what I mean by saddle is you're 13 feet here, or at least it says 13, it says 12 now, 12 to 13, and then you're 11 here. So it only comes up about 2 foot or so, but makes a really good, nice little hump there. You can tell that someone's already put out here that's a rocky point. So that's hard to say if that's really a point or a hump. Like, I'm going to say it's a point just because it looks like a point there. But the fact that it gets deeper and then gets a little shallower, that kind of makes me think maybe I could call it a hump. I don't know, putting too much thought into it. All right, swinging over here off of this point, you've also got someone here that says that there's a hard channel that ends there. I don't really see any creek channels there, so I didn't mark anything there, but maybe go check it out. So we're going to move on up here. We're up here by Oak Point Subdivision. And again, you guys know me, I'm always going to pay attention to where this, where this arm is. Wherever this creek arm is, creek bed, whatever it is, river channel, wherever those are, I'm always going to pay a lot of attention to those. And so right here, again, is another good spot, right? You've got a good little point here, and you've got this creek arm that comes down, or river channel that comes down and swings off of this point. So right in this area, right here at the end, is going to be the best place to go check out. So go look at that. See what you can find there. We're going to move on up a little bit. And again, I'm just following this river arm to see what I can find. Got a pretty good little point that comes out here. If I zoom in a little bit, you'll see it. Now, of course, if I'm zoomed out, you don't really notice it. But zoom in a little bit, and you're like, oh, there's a ledge there, and it's right there by that creek bed or riverbed. So right here, you've got 21 foot, right? So you're pretty deep right in here. And then right here, you come up and you're at 8 or 9 feet. So you know that there's going to be a really good ledge there. The other thing I like about this spot is that you've got a creek bed over here, like a little secondary creek bed that comes into the main one. So really good looking spot right here in this area. Let's keep moving up. The other thing I didn't notice when I was breaking this lake down, the first time I'm making these marks for you, was this road bed that's over here. So you've got some little points that are over here. You can see them. They're not much. They're not really going to really jump out to you, but they are points, and there is a little ditch here in between the 2 points, and there is a roadbed there. So that has some potential to go look at that little roadbed there and just see if there's anything around there. All right, so I'm going to keep moving up. Make sure, I think I just lost my spot when I did that little roadbed. There's our roadbed. So let's move on up. Next thing we find is right here off of this point. Let me zoom back and show you guys where I'm at. So I'm getting pretty far up here on the north side now, but we're going to go up here. We're going to look at that little point that we just saw. That's that roadbed. This is going to be the point. So looking at this point, this looks pretty good. You got 10 foot up on the top, so that one looks good as well. And then you've got also, if you look just to the right of it, you've also got a roadbed that's right in here as well. All right, the next thing that you want to look at really is going to be right in here where this submerged culvert is, right here in this area right here. Oops, I'm using my mouse. I do use my finger here. right here where that submerged culvert is. So go take a look at that. Also, this roadbed that runs up through here, this looks pretty good. You've got another culvert that's right here in this area, and you've got another submerged bridge that's right here. That looks money. That bridge is only in 15 to 16 foot of water. You definitely want to go check that one out. Now, as we move up here, we've got a good little creek channel swing coming up against this point. So you definitely want to look right in this area. Look for the debris that's been washed up from that big bend that's right there. Just see what you can find. I guarantee there's something right here in this area. You definitely want to look in there and see what you can find, and make sure that when you're there, you fish that dock. That dock is setting up really well. Looks really good. Looks like a really good place to be able to, to find some fish. So let's move on up here and let's see what else we can find in this area. I think this is our last point on the northern end. But right here, you've got the river arm coming through here. You've got a pretty decent little point here. Go check out this area right in here. Looks like it's got some rocks right around in here as well. So that's obviously going to be a good place for the fish to set up on. And just being the main lake point and being that close to that creek bed or river bed, that's going to be always going to be a good place to at least try to locate some fish for sure. So let's move on down. We talked about all this stuff on the east side, so we can skip all of that. This is all going to be a lot shallower area. There's not a lot from an offshore standpoint to take a look at until we get back down around in here. When we get down in here, there's a couple spots I really liked. One, there's a submerged culvert. There's also a roadbed that's back here. And then you've got the submerged culvert. That roadbed continues over here as well. So make sure if you're checking out the roadbed, you check out both sides. And then if you look right here, you've got a little underwater point that comes up about 2 foot. So almost like a point and then a hump that comes out. But really, I guess it's a point and a hump, whatever you want to call it. It's a good place to look at and try to find some fish. You've got a little saddle area that's right in here that's about 13 foot. If I can get my cursor to go just right, it's like 12 to 13 foot right there. And then all of a sudden it goes right up to 11 foot. So something's there, whether it be just a harder area or some type of underwater hump, you definitely want to go look there and see what you can find. Now this little fish right here, it says that it has channel edge, and it says that the channel has a really sharp edge there. But the problem is here on Navionics is I don't see any type of channel anywhere close to this thing. I see a creek bed that's way out here, but no river channel, no creek channel, or nothing. So I didn't mark that, but you might want to go check it out. Maybe there's something there that we just can't see from a Navionics standpoint, and appreciate that person putting that out there for us. So moving on down here, we already talked about this one, right? We talked about that one as well. Let's keep swinging around and see what else we can find down here. We're actually on the west side now. So last time we didn't get to cover this, and I know I'm going to end up missing it when I come back up by the dam. So let's just talk about it real quick while I'm here. The back side of this little island, right there where I put that marker, go check that out. See if you can find anything from there. I like how that sets up. Everybody's going to fish up around the island and shallow and all that. I don't know if I'd waste too much time fishing around the island other than this side of it. Fishing the southern side is probably going to be your more productive side of that island to be fishing. So spend more of your time there. All right, so moving over here, let's get back on track. That was just the one little waypoint I knew I'd forget, so I'm glad I covered it. So you've also got a little roadbed here. So check out this roadbed. If you notice, there's a decent little point right here. It's nothing crazy, but it's got a 9-10 foot top with the roadbed on top of it. Has some potential, but what I also like here is the little indention that you have right here. So if I'm going to go fish this, I'm probably going to come in, set up right here, fish this first, and then work my way over and fish just probably the roadbed out to the edge of that point. So go look there, see if you can find some fish there. There's some interesting stuff back here as well, and you've probably heard me talk about it many times on the Google Earth breakdowns and things like that, but there's 2 pipes that are over here. You can see where it has that they've got them marked for obstructions. Those pipes can be absolutely money to fish. So always make sure to go up and check, 5-10 casts, throw up around that pipe, stay in about 5, put your boat in about 15 foot of water and, just cast around and see what you can find. Don't be scared to cast deep and also cast shallow around that pipe. I'm telling you, they love to hang out around that stuff, and you got 2 of them right here. So go check those out. Moving down here, we're going to get around the bend here. We're on Brown Point. The next thing that's going to be in here is this just a little a brush pile, and I think I've got all these marked for you guys on Google Earth, but if not, I've marked one for you there, so go check that out. But contour perspective, offshore perspective, not a lot going on right in here, other than the fact that it's not really offshore, but you can pull off a little bit and fish all of this flooded timber. So if there's flooded timber in here, that's going to be definitely worthy of going in there and checking it out. I love to fish that flooded timber, especially when the water temps, when they're fluctuating a lot and the fish start to just really, you know, they're not on the bottom, they're not on the top, they're just kind of hovering right in the middle, they're suspending. That is a good time to go out and look at that flooded timber. Also in the fall, they love to suspend in the fall and getting up in that flooded timber in the fall. And this one's probably got, you know, some bait fish that could be pushed back in here as well in these little shallow areas, plus the flooded timber. So that area, although from a contour perspective does not look that pretty, it could have potential depending on the type of flooded timber that's there. All right, so I'm going to keep moving over. Next thing that I like is right in here. If you'll look, you've got the main riverbed right in here. And then right out off the riverbed, right in here, which is typically where you'd find it, right where a bend is, it says there's some brush that's right in here. So go check that out, scan around it, see what you can find. You're talking some pretty deeper water that's over here, but that brush pile, it says, if I zoom in really, really close, it says that brush pile is in about 16 to 17 foot of water, maybe even a little bit less. So just try to scan around in that area and see if you can find a brush pile there. Now moving over here, we're just following the riverbed. When we get right in here, we got a really good swing again, not really swing, but a channel bend. And it's right here that I really like. So it does swing up against the point, but it's far enough off the point where you can't just get right up on the point and find a really good ledge there. But there's got to be something right there where I put that marker at. There's got to be brush piles, it's got to be washed up, and something is there, a ledge, something is out there. Definitely go check it out. And then, you know, when you're there, you may even come over here and check out this one and just see if there's anything out there as well. But I'm going to keep moving on. I don't want to get too focused on all of those because sometimes there's just nothing there. You expect it to be there, and then there's nothing there. So then moving here, down here, you've got a submerged bridge. This bridge is in about 30 foot of water, so you're probably, you know, your wintertime, summertime type stuff. But definitely check out that bridge. I think I messed up. I wasn't supposed to come down yet, so I'm going to stay back up here so we don't get lost. And we're going to move around this little point that's right here. And this point, see what it's called, Rocky Cove. I didn't find too much back in the cove, but right up in here, you've got a lot of good things going on. So you've got a point, right? So that's one piece of cover. Two, you've got rocks, so that's two pieces of cover. You've also got a creek bed, that's three. You got a submerged culvert, which is debris and stuff, that's four. And I believe there's one more thing here, and that would be your roadbed. So it's 5 different main pieces of cover right here off this point. What I'm trying to say is spend some time here, right in here, and see if you can find anything right in there. All right, so we're going to keep moving up this side, and then we'll come back down the other side, probably on our next video. But this is a little hidden area right in here, and I can't figure out how to close that out right now, so I'm not going to mess with it. But you see these little dots that are right here? This is an old fence line. And sometimes, just sometimes, especially on I know like on my area where Lake Tawakoni is, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's out just east of Dallas. But Lake Tawakoni has got, sometimes you can find these fence lines. Of course, they'll tear up your boat if you don't find them, and the fence line finds you first. But they love to set up on those fence posts, especially the wooden ones. If they're the old wooden fence posts that are out there, I mean, you basically can just pick them off one by one on each one of those fence posts and just work your way in and then work your way back out, and they'll just keep setting back up on them. So go out here and look. It looks like this fence comes pretty far out here. This looks like it could have some potential. So go look. But again, be super careful when you roll up there. You can really tear up the bottom of your boat with those fences. So you've got to be really, really careful. You can even screw up your trolling motor. So just be careful, but good spots to fish around. Moving over here, we've got a pretty good ledge. So you've got the riverbed that's right here. The river's making a pretty good turn. And so right here, you're going to have a really decent ledge to fish around. That's going to be a really good spot, winter and summertime, things like that. So moving on, we're going to keep moving up to the north here. Next time it turns, which is going to be right in here, we've got a pretty good little, pretty good little bend that's right here. So I'm thinking, start looking like way out here for brush or rock piles or something that's over in this area. And if you still can't find anything, look in this area right where I have this little guide. If you still can't find anything there, probably bail on that and just fish that dock. But somewhere in this area, they should set up. It's a really good spot for them to set up at. It swings pretty close to the land there, and it should have some ledges or something going on around that riverbed. We're going to keep moving up here until we get to the top here. If you'll notice, I probably do this on every one of them, but if the riverbed or creek channel or whatever it is, if it's swinging up against the land, for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden it just makes a turn. Right there at that turn is typically a primo spot to go fish. So it's like, it's the same, and then boom, it's gone. Well, that usually gives you a really good spot to look at. So look right in this area, and I think you're going to be able to have some success. Also, these docks look really good because they have so much depth to them, especially these two. So two really good docks to go fish while you're out there. And then, of course, swing on up and focus a lot of attention just right where it ends. All right, so I'm going to move down. We've got a couple more spots back down in here, and then we'll probably end this video. Let's go ahead and move on down to this spot right here. Sorry, I was checking my recording. We're going to move down here where this bridge is. Now, if you look really closely, there's a really good ledge going on right in here. So I would probably start here, right in there, and then also work your way all the way up underneath that bridge. That looks like a really good spot. Good depth, 12 to 15 foot. Again, you've got another bend right here in the river, so you want to go check that out. You want to look for the debris on the outside, all that good stuff. See what you can find there. I've also got some flooded timber that's back there too, so that looks promising. And then the last one I wanted to check with you guys, show you guys, was the submerged bridge that's back here. So you've got a pretty good submerged bridge, and I believe this one, is in 10 to 11 foot of water. That's absolute money, pretty much all the time. So you definitely want to go back there, fish around that bridge, see what you can find. Really like how it sets up. I think you guys are going to have some real good success fishing around that. So let's go ahead and finish the video there. What we'll do next time is we will start right here at this little icon right here. I'm going to go ahead and change the color so I don't get lost next time on where we ended. And we'll change that. And I tell you what, guys, that will wrap us up. Make sure to go out and check out my website, simplisticfishing.com. You can go out there, you can check it out. You can get digital files out there that I can email those to you, and then you can put them on an SD card and put them in your graph, or you can purchase the SD card version, which is pretty much everything's already ready to go for you. You just take the card, plug it in your graph, and you're good to go. And I also email you the KML files for the Google Earth side so that you have those. You can look at them while you're on your PC before you go out fishing. So some really cool stuff. It'll change the way you fish, I promise. Go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. Until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.